Hello, everybody. My name is Harsh. I think I messed most of you from now. Charles and Dan asked me to just give a little of my testimony. So I haven't prepared a whole lot, but I'll just talk, what my testimony is and whatnot. So, well, thank you.
That was good. Thank you.
All right, I can go back now. But anyway, so as you know, my name is Harsh. I'm here actually from Michigan. I'm with my girlfriend, JC. She's from Minnesota, so we just got here yesterday. It's a very nice place in California. It reminds me a lot like India, which is where I'm from. But I just wanted to start out with a scripture that I had read in the conference, and this is what you had distributed out in that sheet where we went through the problem verses. The very last one on the first page is Matthew 23:15. And it says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are going about the sea and dry land to make one proselyte, and whenever he may becoming one, you are making him more than double a son of Gehenna than you are." Now, I don't know why you underline double a son of Gehenna. This is one passage that I always talk to other people when I talk about my Christian experience because I relate to it so much. I've read over the book of Matthew a few times, and I never really realized it until about a year and a half ago when I read through this passage in a small Bible study setting. And it said double the son of Gehenna, and I was like, in I guess this is Concordant, but the other languages says double the son of hell. And it is so true because that has been my, I guess, experience with the Christian walk. It made me twice the son of hell. And I don't like to, bash other people or whatnot. I usually am a pretty nice guy to go along with, so I don't like to bash other religions or whatever. But it has been my experience, and I cannot lie because this is what I, been through. But to just give you a little bit of background, I was born in India. I grew up there. I was there for 16 years, 15 days, and I came here. And I was 16 years old, so I left all my friends, and I came here. And I grew up in a Hindu family. A very conservative Hindu family. And my grandpa is probably one of my role models besides my dad, who was very spiritual and very kind-hearted man. So I came to Virginia, and I was in the middle of the 10th grade in high school here. And it was in the middle of 11th grade. I won't go through the story. It's kind of twisted story of how I got to hang out with some Christian people. And it was during one of the Christmas times that I started going to church, and I heard about the gospel and whatnot, and no mention of hell, just heard about the gospel. And my friend, my very dear friend to this day, Michael Henderson, he gave me a Bible, and I started reading it. And I just couldn't believe the joy that I got just from reading it. And he asked me to pray, in one of those altar calls, and I prayed. But it was just something during that time. To this day, I can't figure out why I started following Christ. I mean, I have been following other religions, and I became atheist for a little bit of time because of evolution and all that. But I was kind of agnostic atheist, and when I started going to church and he gave me this Bible, I started reading it. By the way, I ended up going to church for wrong reasons. I was in U.S., and I was pretty new, and I thought, there's a lot of white people at church, so I'll just go there to make some contacts so I can get a better job. I used to work at Pizza Hut.
Hey.
A lot of people go to church.
Hey, did you say white people?
Yeah. But that was my experience. So I wasn't there for religious purposes. I was just there to make some contacts so I can get a better job, which I did. Nothing to credit with the church people. I just got by my own. But the first time I went there, the pastor started talking about Jesus and all that stuff, and that was good for about the Christmas time. They don't really talk mean stuff during Christmas, I found out. they say some good stuff during Christmas. Yeah, but
hell is put on hold.
Yeah, it is. It literally is. It is put on hold, and it wasn't until January that people started talking about hell and all this, and so I started going, and they started talking about how all the other religions are wrong. And I'm going to First Baptist Church, in Roanoke, Virginia, and then I started questioning, like, what is this, man? This is like a totally different people in about like a month span. So anyway, I started going, and at that point, it was more of interest, like, why are they saying this? Why are they saying that Hindus are wrong? Because I come from a country where we respect a lot of religion. It's about 1 billion people, 850 million Hindus, about 200 million Muslims. And Christianity is less than 1%, but still it's so secular that Christian holidays are national holidays. And I grew up watching Jesus movies on national television. I didn't know much about it, but it was kind of a movie that they played during Christmas time. So anyway, so that was kind of curious, and I stuck with it. But slowly and steadily, what I realized that my joy was getting killed by staying in the church. I had so much joy reading the Bible initially, but as I started to spend more time in the church, I don't know if it's me or if it's other people experience the same way, but it felt like I cannot really understand what I'm reading unless a pastor is speaking a sermon on it or unless somebody else is telling me about it. So it just kind of decapitated my joy of reading the Bible. So that was cool. But then I moved on to college and I became part of InterVarsity Christian Fellowship, which is like the Christian, group on the campus. So that was really a beginning of my Christian walk independently, because now I'm away from my home church, I'm away from my parents, and I am by myself. And I really took a lot of things to heart, and I appreciated one of the things Dan shared, that if you really believe what was taught, you cannot live a normal life. And it was so true for me. That was the first time I actually heard Dan, somebody said that. And I experienced for myself because I thought I was not normal. How can I go about my own business, going to classes, hanging out with friends, going to Applebee's or whatever, and have fun activities while people are going to hell? I really believed it, to the point that it really ruined my life. I was emotionally bankrupt. I was financially bankrupt because I spent all my money giving out to other people for evangelism, all that. Education-wise, I was not doing so good because I had to bunk some classes, probably a lot of classes, to fulfill and save people from hell. I quit my job during the day. I got a job at night, so I can work during the night. I used to work at a gas station at night. I could work and read my Bible 3-4 hours a day during that time, because I had to study. I had to know what I need to tell other people, so I used to study during that time. And I used to hand out those, chick tracts and
Drugs.
yeah, pretty much, to all these other people. And just slowly but steadily, the whole mindset of hell and all those things kind of took over me. And at one point, I realized that I cannot continue this anymore. It was so stressful. I totally went out of shape physically. I used to work out every day. My relationship with my parents was the one big thing that I regret to this day, because they were Hindus and I never really learned how to be respectful in that sense, because what I learned was to separate them out. And that's not, I'm learning now, that's not the case. God put me in that Hindu religion for a reason. They were my parents for a reason. I didn't have to put them through so many hardships. And I did, because every immigrant parent who comes here has high hopes for their son. They don't want their son to flunk out of school, and I never did. I was a great student always, or to ruin their financial career and all that stuff. And I really put them through a lot of stress. They work hard. They're not like other immigrant parents who come here who are doctors and whatnot. My parents don't even speak English, so they work hard. They're in position right now because they work hard to support me, and I wasn't being a good son to them. So I mean, this is just one of the so many hardships that come through wrong theology, and that's why I appreciate so much of good teaching that comes out of this group. But anyway, so just to give a background, that was my experience in InterVarsity in the college area, and it wasn't until 2008. By this time, I'm so exhausted, I'm so stressed, I'm working 60 hours a week to pay my bills, because I have to pay my bills. I'm not getting checks from people or anything like that. I don't take money from my parents, I support myself. So I'm working 60 hours, I'm taking 18 credits, I'm talking to people, I'm leading Bible studies, I'm doing a paramedic class, all these other different things, and I'm exhausted. And mostly just my mindset it's the mindset, it's the prison, I feel. It's the theology that kind of, I don't know, puts you in a prison. There's no escape, it feels. You know, going to church felt like a drug addict almost. You know, you go there, you get beaten down, but you go there next week because you think that you'll find something better, and it's just like a continuous thing. So 2008, this guy came from Australia, and he was part of like an independent movement, and he just suggested, I actually skipped an entire week of class just to go listen to him because he was in India for 28 years, so he kind of related to some of the things that I was saying. And he just suggested just a little bit in his speech that maybe the church structure might not be, you know, biblical. And that sparked a plug on me. So I go grab a book, this book named Pagan Christianity by Frank Viola, and I read the whole thing in like 2 days. And I immediately get connected so quickly to that because I can relate on how he's saying that how this is not, you know, this is not good because it puts people into bad position and all that kind of stuff. So that was the beginning of my journey. And a few months later, I realized as I kind of rolled through fast, went from no church to independent to home church. Then even the home church turns out to be nothing more than, you know, just the same organization. But the point is, it's the bad theology still. It doesn't matter where you meet. If your theology is messed up, you're going to be messed up anyway. So, and that kind of lead through some other stuff, and I read this book named Shack in the meantime, which kind of opened up a little more doors. And I was telling some of the brothers here that in one of the pages it talked about how Jesus, not all people can go to Jesus, but Jesus can come to everybody. And I thought, okay, that's kind of, you know, that's kind of suggesting something bigger than what I have ever thought. So the only place that I know where to go is the internet. And my generation is the internet generation. This is where I go and find out truths and whatnot. For the longest time, Amazon.com discussion page was my source of Christian truth for universal reconciliation. I mean, but that was good because that led me to some other stuff. And I'm very grateful for Charles that he sent me some books probably last year. I got like a little slip in the email saying, hey, if you want free books, you know, contact this guy. So I sent him an email, and he sent me a lot of different books. The books that he sent me, that it said these are the free books you'll get, I never read them because he sent me a few other books along with it, which were Martin Zender's books. If you have read Martin Zender's books, they're great. They're small, easy read, and really hilarious. So I said, I'm sorry?
I said you're a deluded young man.
Oh, okay. And that was my opening. And then I said, okay, maybe I'll go on this guy's website. And I listened to his shows along with Dan Sheridan. And last year was the first time I met Dan, and by that time I had read a lot of different things. I had questions and whatnot. And he was gracious enough on Father's Day to allow me to come to his house. You know, we had lunch, and we had hours for maybe 2-3 hour talks and whatnot. I was on my way to Minnesota to see my girlfriend. So I thought, you know, I'll stop on my way to Chicago. But that's how I got introduced. I think I'm doing good on time. So this is my short story. There's a lot of details in it, but thought, you know, I'll let you guys know about it. So.
Wait a minute, I gotta clarify something here. When he called me on the phone and I heard his name, I thought it might have been an undercover Muslim wanting to kill me. I'll never forget that. And I'm listening to him talk, and I realized, listening to him talk on the phone, this guy's serious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this guy's serious. And he came to my house, and he was, you know, like he was afraid he was imposing, and he sits down at a table and he pulls out a scroll about a mile long with questions on it. It was amazing. This young guy comes over, drives all the way from Michigan just to ask questions about God. And
how far did he drive?
He drove from
5 hours
Michigan,
or so,
yeah.
5-6 hours or something.
Yeah.
You live in Missouri?
Chicago.
Oh, Chicago.
Yeah.
So that was about it, and I'm very thankful for the people here. You know, I'm thankful for the fellowship. I'm thankful mostly for the teaching that comes out because it has definitely helped me and kind of made me more normal, you know, so to speak, to kind of get back on the track and a little bit, you know, have.
And I think he should be in the speaker's slot next year. What do you all think?
We